This is part 2 of the INEOS Grenadier delivery from our amazing Rick, who is with Red Nolan. Rick, we're going to put your contact information below because, again, I just can't say in all of my years that I have had anyone hand deliver a vehicle in a snowstorm, 2-hour drive, so that we didn't have to drive the 2 hours. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And you've been so patient and helpful with us along this entire process. And this video has been super informative. We just did the outside of the vehicle. We're now going to do the inside of the vehicle. I'm in the back, and you can see what a great view I have because they actually have stadium seating here where my back seat is slightly higher than the front seat, so I can have great conversation with my travel mates. I love that.
Great.
So,
let's start this thing up and get some heat because we've got a little dog with us.
Yes, we do.
So I'm going to point out a couple things as far as starting the vehicle where it seems to, everything seems to work a little bit smoother. So if you want to take your key.
Yep.
And now here's what I recommend.
Okay.
This actually comes directly from my owner, Tom Buckley. If you put your finger on the side of the key, you'll be able to feel much better where the key fits.
Okay.
Since it's not illuminated. Just take and turn the key on and give it one turn, one click. You're going to notice all the electronics are going to come on.
Yeah.
This is just a warning indicators. It's going to show you, and we'll go through it a little bit more, but it's going to show you what's really happening in the vehicle.
Great.
Foot on the brake.
Okay.
And then turn it the rest of the way.
I just love this. It's like you're in an airplane, and this is the cockpit. It's so cool.
Beautiful.
So I'm going to do kind of a left to right on the vehicle. We'll turn the steering wheel right side up. There we go.
Okay.
So we're going to start on the driver's door. So your, of course, your window switches are normal.
Yep.
You have lock and unlock on driver's door.
Yep.
Then you have your mirror selector on the door as well.
Great. Nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So on the actual lighting stock, and I'm turning the steering wheel so you can see it a little bit. So if you turn that outside ring, that will turn on headlights.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So of course it's light. The eye is going to be right over here, so it's light enough they won't turn on. But there is an auto function as well.
Great.
And of course your turn signal stock. Of course your high beams as well are all on that, just like a normal vehicle. If you push the end of the stock, you're going to see. Push it multiple times. Push in on the end.
Gotcha.
That's going to change driven time, range to empty, current economy on the vehicle.
Great.
So we kind of have that. Well, let's go over the steering wheel. Of course, you have your main horn if you want to give it a little blast. And then your toot button. That's your polite horn.
I love that.
Bicyclists, since INEOS actually has a cycling team called the INEOS Grenadiers. How fitting.
Yeah.
That works really good if you need to get somebody to move a little bit and you don't want to scare the heck out of them. That's the way to do it.
All right. Yep. Beautiful.
Really nice.
On the left side, we have, depending if you have Android or a Apple, will be your Hey Siri button.
Yep. Perfect. Standard
Cruise control. So if you want to push this button right over here, and we can look on the screen, you'll see it's going to. It's grayed out, but that will be your cruise control.
Yeah, I see it.
If you want to set, resume, or cancel.
Great.
That control also works as a hill descent control, where we can control the speed in the high or low side of the transfer case for low speed, off-road.
Yeah.
Because of course with the main shifter we can still change our gear selection. As we look at the stock on the right side, this will be your wipers. So if you want to just put a single wipe, just pull down and release for me. Just pull down, release, single wipe.
Yep.
Back to off. One notch up will be your intermittent, and you can change your duration right there by turning that rotating knob.
Gotcha.
The one that's kind of has like a tread on it.
Yep.
And then low and high
Okay.
would be, of course, up higher.
Okay.
Rick, did I read something about a heated wiper? Did I make that up or dream it?
It does not have a heated wiper. It does have heated windshield washer jets.
Thank you.
So
I
that
knew
would
it
be
was
the
something.
Spray, and we'll just turn them on right now. So when if I turn on the rear demist, it'll turn that on.
Great.
One thing I noticed, I did not close the doors all the way in the back hard enough. That's why it's showing us that.
I'm so
Let
glad
me go do that while you guys.
Okay.
Betsy, can you point that out?
And
Oh, now it's...
before you slam it, Jeffrey, my coffee is back there too, so I don't want you to.
Okay, yeah, I'll grab it.
Well, I'd hate to have a spill.
Yeah, I would like to do the first spill. But if anybody else is going to do it, Rick, it's okay. You drove all this way for us. I'd be okay with that.
And you did close both, correct? The big one as
I
well.
just closed the small one.
Let's
so.
do the big one as well.
Okay, is that okay?
I would do that just in case. Not sure which one was open, but
And will you point to where that...
so if I put my seat belts back, there it
Got
is. So
it.
that's showing
Okay.
you rear doors are open, driver's door is open.
Got it. I love...
There we go.
I love that. That is such
Excellent.
a great safety feature.
Excellent. Okay. Perfect. Shall we link your phone real quick so
Yeah,
we
that's a
can
good idea.
kind of
Let's
see
do
the
that.
Apple CarPlay? So you're going to go into settings.
Bluetooth on, I assume. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So you are in your Bluetooth.
Yeah.
We're going to go connect new phone. Grenadier right there. Tap
right.
that. You're going to pair and then allow.
Okay.
Give it a moment. Yep, just pair is fine.
Yeah.
And allow. And then it should say activate, turn on Wi-Fi.
Connect.
Turn on Wi-Fi connect. Yep, push that. That should bring up our. It should take just a little bit, and everything should load up.
Now I did just put this on
we go.
airplane mode,
Nope,
which I think
you're
we're
fine.
fine here because I didn't
There's
want
your
the
CarPlay.
call to come in. That's beautiful.
So I'm going to go through that, of course, with you as well. We can kind of start with the instrumentation on the driver's side. We'll probably want to put our seat belts on so we don't keep getting that.
Yeah, that's
and it's
kind of
just
cool,
front
Kiki. Look
rear.
at that. So you've got the red light here, knowing that you don't have the seatbelts on.
I
so.
love that safety feature. And now they have put their seatbelts on, so now you get to
It
see
went away.
fuel and temperature, etc.
Speedometer, tachometer, gear indicator, fuel, temperature, odometer, because of course I did drive it,
Yeah.
and driven distance.
Yeah.
And then of course, let's kind of tie both these things together at the same time. So you'll notice CarPlay is active. It has taken up that whole screen. You're going to notice there were some icons that did go away.
Yeah.
That would be your menu. If you press the menu button here on the rotary controller, it's going to bring that back up because this is the function if you don't want to touch the screen.
Oh, yeah,
so
okay, great.
now it brought everything back.
Right.
So I'm going to go through those and just bounce around a little bit here
Okay.
and tell you how they all tie together. So the home screen will, of course, have your audio system, and I was listening to some relaxing music on the way here. And then, of course, settings. If you want to move this, you can either touch the buttons or turn your rotary controller. I'll have you just turn that nice and slow.
Whoops. Yeah.
Right there.
There you go.
Off-road mode. That's a fun one. We can either push here or push straight down on the silver button.
Okay,
It'll
push
take
down
it a
the silver
moment.
button. Yeah.
It's going to load up. This is going to give us many different options. Attitude. Let's start with it. Enter. This is going to show us. Move your steering wheel left or right. You'll see the steering angle.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It'll also give us G-force, pitch, and roll.
Wow.
So this will take up to a 45-degree angle off-road. Probably scare you before you get
Yeah.
that far.
This
Yeah,
would have
I
been
think so.
great for that drive up Princeton. Is that the one that the 14er here, Jeffrey, that
Yeah. There was
we
one we had to-
basically had to go sideways
we had to
on the
basically
car?
ride the wall though.
Yeah.
to
There you go.
pass.
I'm not going to lie, I got out of the car because I was petrified.
There's your altimeter, which is really nice.
That is nice.
Now you notice that since that the 5 characters went away, we now have it has moved that menu over to this side. So if we rotate this control, nice and slow, 1 notch, this is going to rotate us through the menu.
Oh, nice.
This, of course, is telling us altitude, temperature, and it says no phone, but CarPlay is active.
Yep.
Tire with a Y, temperature, tire pressure, and we usually set the front about 5 psi lower than the rear. It's going to give us gearbox and transfer case temperature as
So
well.
gearbox is 147 degrees. When does a warning come on if it goes over a certain
I
temperature?
haven't had it do that. That would be probably some severe off-roading.
Okay.
very, very hot day.
Yeah.
I doubt that's going to happen because the transfer case actually has cooling lines that go up
Gotcha.
to a remote cooler.
Cool.
We're going to turn this one more notch. You'll see there's no navigation per se on this vehicle because your Waze, your Apple Maps,
Right.
whatever, will of course go onto your screen. However, there is a off-road navigation, which is basically if you want to put down pin markers, we could actually go to record path if we were doing an off-road, put down our pin markers and save the route. We can reverse the route. We can download it to a road book.
Kind of
So
like
this is called
breadcrumbs, so
Exactly.
you can find your way back out.
So it is called Pathfinder Off-Road Navigation.
Okay.
We're going to give it one more turn here. This is my favorite screen. I really like this. This is basically telling you the travel time from when I left this morning. I'm in Woodland Park, so I saved a little bit of time from Springs. Travel distance, average speed, average fuel economy.
Great.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's going to show us, if I move this, how far we've driven and the altitude. This is Wilkerson Pass. This is Hoosier Pass.
Yeah.
Just rise and fall.
Right, so Hoosier Pass is almost at 11,000 and change.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
So it
cool.
shows I started out, my driveway was about 7780 and went that far.
Very
For
cool.
all the Flatlanders out here, we're just at the post office. We're at 9,000 feet, which is great.
It is.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I just want to thank you again because I know that you picked this up at the dealership, brought it to your house, and brought it to us. So this is a brand new car. And, you know, that's something that Jeffrey and I would have had to go pick up. And then I would have been driving one of these cars back in this weather. And I like to fancy myself a good driver, but I am a very cautious driver and very glad I'm not having to drive in this.
Yeah,
So
me too. So that's good.
We're going to go through the last function. So you'll notice it's not highlighted anymore.
Yeah.
So push your controller over to this side. Just give it a push to the...
Oh yeah.
Now it's highlighted.
Oh yeah.
That's how you move it across the screen.
great.
One more turn.
Yeah.
This is going to show us the battery temperature that's underneath the rear seat,
Okay.
the current voltage, current charging, and state of charge.
Nice. Okay. Great.
So as you move this kind of left to right, it will go from this to, of course, your main menu. So there you go. Let's go down to phone. So phone is going to do the same exact thing as CarPlay. So it's going to load up your CarPlay. Let's go back to menu and roll down to audio, if you would. One more. Enter. So this is going to bring up a couple different things. These are your selections as far as audio. Let's move the cursor all the way to the right and go to the top. One more. Go to the top. This will be your Apple CarPlay. I'm sorry, at the top it will be FM radio.
Okay.
Your little hamburger menu here
Yeah.
will take us to AM, FM. You can either touch the screen, or if you notice, you have an options button that will change your source.
Oh, gotcha.
And if you want to auto seek, of course, you would rotate down, hit auto seek. Now, if you want to get out of this menu, because you'll see you're in a sub menu, that's where the back button comes in.
Oh, cool.
Just like that. Now let's move the cursor back over. Second one down will be enter.
Enter.
Let's go back to that side. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, one more down. There we go. That is, of course, your satellite radio.
Yep.
What station do you like to listen to on satellite radio? Is there a certain one?
Kiki likes the 70s.
Perfect, 70s on 7. So we can either we can go like this, or we can move your cursor over.
Oh,
So
cool.
if you move it now, you see there's kind of a highlighting. Now you can rotate it,
Oh, yeah.
go down to 70s on 7. So just rotate it all the way.
This way. Okay.
Other way.
Oh, the other way. Down to 7.
Yep, down to 7.
I haven't had Sirius for so long. I forget how this works. We're
And
we're big, Pandora and
Wonderful.
Amazon, but yeah. So we've got this for 3 months. You said
3 month
months.
subscription, yes,
Yeah,
no
okay.
charge. So there you go, 70s on 7. Now you want to save that as a favorite, you can press that or hit options
Options.
and add to favorites, enter. Okay, what other, we'll add one more station just again to give you an
I'm
idea.
kind of stuck in the 80s
Perfect.
myself.
Okay, so now you're going to go to options,
Options.
add to favorites, enter, straight down.
Okay.
There we go. So now go back to your options button and go to favorite channels. you'll notice it only has those two.
Oh, cool.
Now, if you wanted to add more,
Yeah.
you would go back to your options, all channels, and select what you want.
Great.
Very cool.
All right, let's move. So now you see the highlighting that just lets us
Right.
change between those two. You're beat me to it. Perfect. One more down.
Well,
this will be.
You're a good teacher here.
Oh, thank you. USB. Speaking of that, you have USB and USB-C in the center console.
Okay.
Yep, and I'm going to move this out of the way. This is your window tint information.
So down here, obviously.
Yep, you've got USB, USB-C, and a 12 volt.
Okay.
And of course your locking
Yeah.
control there. The metal key is on with yours. And one more down will be Bluetooth audio, just to give you an idea.
Okay.
You can do it that way.
Okay, great.
So that's kind of a run through of the main screen.
Right.
Let's go over, we'll kind of start with this. So here we have seat heaters. Everything we do on a Grenadier, we want to do it nice and slow. So in other words, it doesn't like a punch of a button. Like that. 3, 2,
Yeah.
1.
Okay, great.
These seat heaters will work incredibly. You'll love it.
I just want to say that the heat in here works so nicely. It got really comfortable really quickly. We didn't have to like blast it. It's quiet and it feels like it's throughout the whole car instead of just where the vents are.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you a little bit on the climate control. This can be a little bit confusing for some guests. I'll tell you where I've probably driven 6,000 miles in Grenadiers, so I've kind of figured out a few things about them. So let's say, for example, you want manual control. You want to change your temperature, and you'll see it goes blue to red. We want to turn it up here. We want to have face and feet, and we want to turn our fan. We can do that. Where the Grenadier works much better would be to press the auto button, and you'll notice on the screen, once I move your control, it's going to select the temperature.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And it takes it a moment for it to go from one zone to another, or whenever we've changed it. So now, as long as you do not move these two, I think you're going to be very comfortable there.
Okay, great.
Window demist, front and rear. You'll also
Defroster.
notice
Yep.
red and green stripe,
Okay.
starboard port.
Okay. Love that.
INEOS also has a yachting team. So,
Okay.
so your window demist, if we press it, it's going to blow really hard, and it's going to try to clean off that windshield.
Okay.
If you prefer something different,
That's great.
you can manually adjust your fan and your
No, that's great.
control.
That's easy. Like he said, we're on the road a lot. I'm driving. That's easy to hit.
Yes.
Half the time I'm telling you, would you please put the defroster on with the other car? I couldn't figure it out.
Of course.
Changing subjects here.
Of course, this is your rear demist,
Yeah.
which, as I said, warms up the grid, warms up your heated side mirrors and your windshield washer jets.
Yeah.
That can probably go off by now.
Okay.
Hazard lights, just turn those on.
I love the way it's like with the bars. It's like, it's
great.
hazardous. Right.
Yes.
A climate control. So AC you want to keep that on.
Okay.
Of course, and then of course your circulation, if we get behind a diesel truck or something, you
Yeah.
can do that. Auto start stop. So if you want to shut off that auto start stop function, I'm going to go into that in a little bit after I point out a couple things.
Okay.
Your audio control.
Great.
You also have your audio control on your steering wheel.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Track up and down.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really
And
nice.
then of course park assist if we need to shut off those front and rear parking sensors.
Okay.
So
And we'd only shut that off if they start to get gunked up like a day
unless
like
you
today with the ice.
don't
and
want
snow.
them on.
Okay,
It's just up to you. So a lot of my guests, once they get in the vehicle, the procedure they will do will be, of course, put the key in the ignition, turn the ignition on, put the seat belt on, then of course foot on the brake, start it the rest of the way. It likes a little bit slower. That way your iPhone or your Android Auto will connect. Next thing is, if you do not like that start stop, go ahead and push that for me, nice and slow, and it is off. And this also has the forward facing camera, which has the speed warning. I hear a lot about that. I have a quick fix that I've set up for you. You're going to, after you shut that off, if you want it off, next press favorites, and it's going to go. We'll need to shut off the overspeed warning. So
Okay.
go ahead and turn it one notch, or you can touch there you go,
Yeah.
and enter. Now this does need to be reset every time
Okay.
currently.
Right. And so it just knows the speed limit on the highway we're on, and when I go over, it gives you a reminder.
Correct.
Yep.
The forward-facing camera, which is not the camera, is actually looking for speed signs, and as far as if you go over, it's going to annoy you. But that's just the quick fix to take care of that.
Great. Okay.
Sort of an override.
Exactly. The forward-facing camera also does a couple other things. It is looking for your if you're going out of your lane departure, and those will turn green as we start driving. Sorry, I didn't mean to push that. And also, it has advanced emergency braking. That doesn't mean it's going to stop you.
Right.
That means it's if we get if there's an imminent crash that's imminent, it will double your braking power. So you mash on the brakes, it's going to stop you slower.
That's great. Okay.
So now you pretty much know what
Yep.
all of those functions do. The two that I did not talk about is audio and off-road. It's the same as touching audio and off-road.
Exactly.
That's it.
Great.
Okay.
Perfect.
Shall we go to the top?
Yes.
Okay.
I had a quick question,
Sure.
and maybe you were going to hit this, but I just happened to notice this passenger airbag on off. Is that an optional?
It's determined by weight.
Okay.
It's
There you go.
determined by weight. So if I get out, it's going to show that it's off.
Yeah.
I see.
So
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's
Yep.
no point in it being on.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so let's start up here. So as far as on your Grenadier, we have a couple different switches. You see external one, EXT1, internal 1 and 2. So this is a switched 10 amp circuit underneath the hood that I did point out in
Yep.
the first outside walk around video. These two are terminated in each kick panel,
Okay.
where you could add ham radio, CB radio, things like
Right.
that. These all shut off with the key.
Okay.
They're completely dead unless you turn on that auxiliary panel.
Gotcha.
So you'll want to make sure that is off if you're parking it for some time, of course, so
Yeah.
it doesn't run the battery.
Right.
So I have a question. Can you put that auxiliary on and leave the air conditioning on in the car, or no?
It's three 12-volt circuits. So it's nothing to do with the...
Got it.
Nothing to do with... It'd be for accessories, lights, different things
Okay.
like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm gonna jump around a little bit here because we're gonna actually go for a drive,
Okay.
and activate the axle locks as well.
Okay.
So here we have map light on each side. Here I have the door set as if the door is open, all the lights will come on,
Yeah. Great.
and then this would be just turning all the lights on in the cabin
Yeah.
if you want to do that.
Okay.
We spoke about adjusting the headlights down.
Yeah.
That's what this control is for.
Interesting.
Zero is where it needs to be.
Yep.
It'll go to 3. That just, of course, will bring the headlights down if you have everything loaded.
Okay.
Your auxiliary lights, those are your center lights. Those only work in the off-road mode or the waiting mode, which are these two modes.
Okay.
So that way you can use them off highway.
Okay.
So the procedure to do that will start, I'm just going to walk you through it. So first of all, headlights need to be on. So you probably want to, since it's bright enough out here, you want to back it up one notch till we get headlights on. Turn your outside control
This way, yeah. Okay.
until, there you go.
Okay.
Put your high beams on. So you're going to push it, should be able to push the stock.
This way. Yeah. Gotcha.
There you
yeah.
go. So now we see headlights are on, high beams are on, so all your indicators are there. Now go ahead and push the off-road mode for me. So these are the only two switches that require a secondary push.
Okay.
So one push, go ahead and push it again. Now we are in the off-road mode. It's going to need a confirmation, either okay on the screen or okay here.
Okay.
Now the off-road mode will allow us to put those outside center lights on. You would push the auxiliary light and they're on.
Oh, great. Okay.
So of course, you'll also notice it looks like a Christmas tree over here. We've got a lot of other things that just came on. What it did, it shut off the forward-facing camera. Because if we're going off-road, we don't need any speed limit. We don't need lane departure. We don't need anything like that. And I'll kind of get into that a little bit more. But that's how it works.
Okay.
So as far as in the off-road mode, we can now take our seat belts off. You'll still have the seatbelt indicator there, but it goes away here.
Yeah.
It'll shut off your parking sensors, backup camera, things we don't need for off-road.
Okay. Great.
The waiting mode does pretty much the same thing, but it shuts off the cooling fan for the engine.
Okay.
So I don't activate that because there's really no point in doing that. I can explain it. If you're going to be wading through a river or stream or something like that, slow moving of course, then you would activate the wading mode, shut off the fan, so it doesn't pull water in.
Okay.
After you drive through the water, you'll want to let the vehicle run for about 20 minutes or so, because the starter's on the bottom of the engine.
Yep.
You want to make sure it's dry before you shut it off.
Great. Okay.
So you can shut off, so go ahead and just shut off your off-road mode, hit your auxiliary, and shut off your high beams.
Okay.
And probably put it back in auto mode, and we're all set there. Yep.
Okay.
Should be good.
There we go.
Okay, so that's that. We have a couple of buttons over here, which are going to be your hill descent.
Yeah.
Go ahead and push that slowly. You're going to notice hill descent control comes on where the cruise control comes on. So that would be using your 2 buttons on your steering wheel to slow the vehicle down if you're coming down a very sharp grade. So low speed.
We used that out at the ranch up in Aspen. That was great. Yeah.
Excellent. Good. I'm
Very
glad you
cool.
had to
And
try that.
they can check out that video as well.
So that's how that works. Go ahead and push that off. And of course, this is your stability control off.
Great.
Know what that does. Same
yeah.
thing. Let's talk. We're about ready to take it for a drive. I do want to point out a couple things here. So as far as emergency brake, your shifter. So walk through the shifter with you real quick. I'll have you put your foot on the brake. So there is a release here on the side that you have to push in order to put it back into a forward or reverse gear. So you're fine. So okay, so reverse. There's backup camera, park distance control will come on when we need it, of course. If you want to put it back into drive, go ahead and squeeze, pull it all the way back. We are in drive. It's going to tell you right here. If you want to go through the gears, maybe as I came down Independence Pass, I did, of course, use the gears, so it wasn't pushing on the brakes continuous. If you slide the shifter over to the left, there you go. You're in the mechanical side.
Okay.
If you want to downshift, you're going to push forward. So first gear, it's going to stay in first gear. If you want to upshift, pull back.
Great.
So it's only going to show second gear until we get moving.
Okay. Yep.
And so go ahead and push it back over to the right. And then of course for neutral, I would just push the shifter forward without pushing any button. Now we're in neutral.
Gotcha. Okay.
P for park.
Yep. And this is a BMW shifter. We had a BMW, so this is familiar to me.
Excellent.
Yeah.
This is of course your transfer case. High side of the transmission, low side of the transmission. I'll go through that with you. So this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. So we're going to leave it in high open center differential. If we want to put it into a lock, so it's a 50-50 split, I'm going to demonstrate it for you, and then I'll have you do it, of course. You have to pull up on the collar because the collar keeps it from moving, and you have to give it a really good smack.
Okay.
Move my coffee here so it's out of the way. So, and then wiggle it to make sure the collar drops down. Of course, once we did that, you're going to notice also it shut off that forward-facing camera.
Yep.
That's why it does all that.
Okay.
Squeeze, pull.
Okay.
To go into the low side of the transfer case, we'll need to be in neutral, and of course the vehicle needs to rock just a little bit because you are now moving through the gears.
Right.
So, are you ready for a drive?
Yes. Yeah,
okay. Shall we back out and just go down the parking lot a little bit?
Yeah.
And then
we did give this a good drive out at the ranch.
Okay, if you want to, I don't know if you want to show the axle locks or not. If you've done that already, then
yeah, we have.
Okay.
Yep. So I think that's great. But just remind me again. So we'll go ahead. Just hit it real quick.
Okay. Shall we drive real quick? So we're gonna go reverse.
Cameras
drive,
on.
Yep. Drive.
Okay. I like the camera because we didn't have the camera.
No, we could have used that
Don't let her hear that. Though.
on a particular incident.
And we can do it right here if you like.
Okay.
So go ahead and.
There's Goby Girl.
Okay.
Excellent. So we can stop right here.
Okay.
So now to put the center differential lock, if we want to put it in the low side of the transfer case, go ahead and put that in neutral. Just push the vehicle forward. Pull up in your collar. Gonna let off the brake a little bit and give it a good pull straight back. There we go. Now it's going to show us we're in the low side of the transfer case. Let's put it in the lock side. So squeeze. Yeah, you got to give it a pretty good smack. Now that we've done that, go ahead and put it back in drive. So now it's going to tell us forward-facing camera is off. I'm going to move this so you can see a little better.
Yeah.
Low side center differential lock.
Right.
Go ahead and go a little bit. Now, if we did want to lock the front and rear axle, you can stop. You want to do that?
Yeah.
So you cannot lock the front without locking the rear. So
Okay.
go ahead and push and hold on that button. There we go. It's going to flash. It's going to flash until you move forward a little bit. Now we are rear locked.
Okay.
If you want to be triple locked, you can push the front. And this would be, of course, and yep.
Why do you call it triple lock?
So we're locking center differential,
Oh, gotcha.
rear and front.
Gotcha.
So now if you look, all the axle locks are on.
Oh yeah, I got it.
So of course it is going to change the feel of the turning,
Yeah.
because it's now going to fight you if you're trying to maneuver.
Yeah,
But
it's-
otherwise,
Yeah.
this is the most sure-footed.
This is tank mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you how to shut off the axle lock. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information before we do so.
Okay.
So we can either just shut off the front, or we can press the rear. It'll shut off front and rear. Or we can take this out of lock, which we'll do. So go ahead and put it back in neutral for me. Squeeze, pull it over to the left, and then back up to the, give it a good smack. Okay, put it back in drive. Just like that. Let's drive forward.
Okay.
So it's going to take it a bit for it to
Register and get everything.
right.
Yeah.
So we can go out on the street a little bit if you want. It's going to take a little bit. That's what I always tell my guests, because it doesn't just unlock that quick. So now we see everything is unlocked but the center, whichever direction you want to go down the road a
I'm
little
just
bit.
gonna go down here and go back in.
Maybe go a little further for it to unlock, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Until we see the. Sometimes
We can just go down to the center where you're going to meet your buddy. What time's he going to be there, by the way? How are we looking for time?
we're doing just fine.
Okay,
We're
great.
doing just fine.
By the way, this is Main Street, Frisco, Colorado. What a cute town. I
This is a
love
great little town.
love Frisco.
So it releases by what I'm told is wheel speed sensor. So it might take just a little bit for it to do so. If not, we'll go around the block, and once we shut the vehicle off, it'll all reset.
Yeah.
But I always like to let everybody know it just takes a moment for it to do so.
So, Jeffrey, I want to note that you only have one hand on the wheel, and I'm noting that because some of the videos state that it's really hard to steer. And, you know, Jeffrey's had a lot of sports cars, and what we've found out from watching more videos is that it feels more like a sports car steering as opposed to difficult steering.
Yeah, you know, it's
that makes
that was
sense.
one thing people were talking about, maybe the steering wheel pulling and things like that, but I didn't notice anything like that when we drove it.
No problems
Yeah.
whatsoever. It is a reticulating ball steering, so it steers like an older vehicle. Now you'll see everything went out.
Yep, yep.
We're back to where we were.
Yeah.
So like I say, it just takes a bit. The only other thing I guess I can tell you is I'll show you how to take the Safari windows out.
Okay.
And there's a car wash mode.
And I'm just going to point at, that's the Butterhorn Bakery.
That's a
you're
great
asking
one,
about.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Butterhorn. So good.
I'm just going to, I'm going to take the back alley back, and we'll just go back to the post office. Okay, so,
This video will be great for us as well because I think it'll be a good refresher course on any questions that you have, Jeffrey,
This
while
is great.
driving.
well, I think, if you want to just point out the windows, we can end the video,
Okay.
but just kind of point it out to us.
I will do that.
Because we did get a rundown on it.
Perfect. So of course your windows open like so.
Yep.
Look at that.
And then, of course, we can remove them by pulling down, taking this out, and then opening them up. You have to hold on to them to take them out.
And they come inside.
You take it through the
inside of the car.
and then put it back in your
Right.
bag.
So one thing that Ben, who did the test drive with us, said when he realized that you could do that at a stoplight,
Exactly.
he took them off, which is something you can't do with the Jeep because it comes from the outside. So you really need to stop. So that's kind of cool because if it is raining or it starts to rain quickly, it's a really nice feature that you can do everything from the inside.
That's great. Now, what is this on here right now?
So I'm glad that did come on. It came on for me as well. It's showing us that the forward-facing camera is not seeing any speed limit signs.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Wow.
So it will come on. How I always mention, as far as if you're on a paved road or there's no signs, you're in a parking lot, that may come on temporarily.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Couple other little tidbits I will mention, as far as this does have a 23.7 gallon fuel tank. When we get down to about half a tank, it's going to give us a warning. When we get down to 3/8, it's going to give us another warning, and then it will sooner or later just say you need to put fuel in. There's still a good reserve. However, I would say It just gives you a heads up ahead of
It's probably not good for us to know what the reserve is, but what is the reserve?
The most I've put in for fuel, we're showing where you should be thinking about it right away. There was still probably a good 4-gallon reserve.
Okay, that's
Nice.
pretty good.
Nice.
Yes.
So I've run out of gas before.
Yes,
at
you have.
highway speed.
Yes.
When I was too busy to put gas in the car.
Yes.
So that's good to have a warning.
And then a second warning, and then really a third warning.
Yeah, that's good. For
So
us.
yeah, fool me once. What is that saying? Fool me
That's
twice.
good, honey. I think we can wrap this video. This is great, Rick.
Oh my gosh,
I gotta
fantastic.
Highlight you one more time. Your professionalism and just working with you has just been incredible. Bringing the car out for us to test drive on the highway. We got to go to a Grenadier event and do the off-road. It's kind of funny, the opposite of what most people are doing. I got to do the off-road and did all this cool stuff, went through streams, and I said, well, before I buy this thing, I want to see what it sounds like on the highway. So you were nice enough to drive it up. That was fantastic. And delivering the car here, fairly painless process. I'm going to say very painless process. I mean, it's always painless deal, letting some of your cash go, but I think this is money well spent. So I thank you.
Absolutely.
My pleasure. Enjoy your new vehicle.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. And, I am so glad we got to work with you and that you were able to find us the right car. And you were very gracious when, we were honest and we knew exactly what we wanted. And it took us a little bit to figure out that, there's 3 different options of this vehicle. There's the wagon, the Fieldmaster, and the Trailmaster. It is the Trailmaster.
Yes.
And a lot of people will just take the wagon and make it exactly what they want. You can take the wagon and make the Fieldmaster and or the Trailmaster. And I think we were a little bit hesitant thinking that it was different than the Fieldmaster, but it is not. The Fieldmaster is essentially a package that's added on. So this is, I'm going to call it the Fieldmaster Plus, is what we ended up with. And we're super happy. And it's really been a pleasure working with you. Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure as well.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, Kiki.
All right. Thank you so much. Wishing you great health, abundant happiness, and outrageous love from inside the coolest car ever, in my opinion, the Grenadier. INEOS Grenadier.